When is your system out of date? Now, people consider their system out of date at different times depending on what kind of user they are. I consider myself a power user of a system. I use the system to do power tasks, meaning I do video editing, I do a lot of power intensive tasks. So when I consider a system out of date, I consider that system out of date when it cannot run the latest software. Basic users consider or should consider a system out of date when it doesn't do what they need it to anymore. That's basically it. I'm a gamer. Will consider the system out of date when it can't run the latest game. Sounds silly, but it all ends up doing one thing, or stating one thing about the system. It no longer does what you need it to. So in general, a system is out of date when it doesn't do what you need it to. I want the latest software running my system so I can take advantage of all the latest programs to be able to do what I want to do on my system. I'm a power user. I want to be able to do what I want to do on the system without any limitations. That's when I find a system out of date, is when it can't run the latest software. For example, now when I say can't run the latest software, I'm being kind of vague there. I'm meaning more when it can't run the latest operating system. For example, iBook G4 I will consider out of date very, very soon when Snow Leopard is released, since it's on the PowerPC platform. I will not throw it out or anything and get a Mac and get a different Mac for that system. But I'm more talking about my main system. My main system I consider out of date and probably replace it when it can no longer run the latest operating system. My MacBook can run Snow Leopard, so I have no issue with that. So it's basically when you consider your system out of date, it's not exact. It's not exactly. It's when it doesn't do everything you need it to. It's time to replace it. But you've really got to watch, making sure you're not doing this too soon, or doing this, or also you can go the other way and doing it way, way too late too. I know people who are basic users on the system and say they want a new system. Like every year they say, "Oh, I want a new system." I go, "Well, why do you need a new system?" And they'll say, "Oh, well, I saw this really, really cool one. It was at Staples. It does all this, this, and this." I go, "Well, you need to do this, this, and this." Goes, "No." Why upgrade? Why? Money is in short demand at this point because it's during the recession, and some people don't have a lot of money, and some people, I've seen people go and want a new system and use their credit card to buy a new system. You shouldn't do that. If you don't need a new system, don't get a new system. This MacBook, I'm very, very happy with. It runs every single piece of software I could ever want to, and some software I don't even want to. It runs games. It does whatever I need it to. So I'm not going to upgrade. But like some people will, I've seen people, like, for example, the person who saw a new system wants to upgrade it. I've also seen people who have Windows 2000 systems and have not ever even installed the Service Pack. So like Windows 2000 with Service Pack 1 on it. And now, that's kind of that's the fine line there. It did what they needed it to, but it also had a whole bunch of viruses, so it was pretty much useless at the point. It was insecure, and it was unsecure, and it didn't do what they needed to. It no longer would check their emails and do the basic stuff. It was time for them to upgrade. I would suggest they would upgrade a little bit sooner, but some people will stick on an operating system. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Windows 2000. It's one of the most stable operating systems I've ever seen, but you've got to really, really look at it. And also, when buying a new system, you want to consider how long it's going to last. Don't go out and buy a $300 system or a $400 or even $400 to $600 system if it's not going to last very long. You don't want to buy a $500 system and constantly have to be taking it for repairs and eventually in a year scrap it. You've really got to consider how long the system's going to last and if you really need to upgrade. No sense spending money if you don't need to. Or as a famous saying goes, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you have a perfectly good working system that does everything you need it to, and you're a basic user, don't upgrade. It's going to cause you a lot of, a lot of headaches kind of thing. Because it'll look different, it won't have all your programs on it, it's not going to have this, this, and this. Like, you don't want to, if there's a, you got to look at the benefits of upgrading and the benefits of staying the way you are. If you stay the way you are, stay on the system you are on, and the benefits for upgrading are just a few little things, like maybe, look prettier, I tend to, go more for usability. That's like it's like when you consider from upgrading to Windows Vista from Windows XP, and people want to buy new systems. Well, XP is stable and is, it's stable. It's got everything you need on it. It has all your programs. You're not going to have any compatibility issues. And Vista has bad driver support, and it's hard to run. Sometimes it slows down, and you get blue screen to death. You tend to find that XP is a better solution for that. So also consider what operating system you're running. Like I said, I consider a computer out of date when it can't run the latest operating system. When I'm running Windows, I necessarily don't want to run the latest operating system if it's Vista. I have no problem with Vista, and I do have, I used to have some Vista systems, and I didn't mind them. I ran them. But you really want to consider, can it run the latest operating system, and do you want it to run the latest operating system? So basically, my words of advice are this. If you want to upgrade, consider the fact if you need to, and make sure you buy a system that's going to last a long time. You don't want to buy a new system every year if you're just a basic user. You don't need to. You shouldn't have to. The system should work the way you need it to, and you just got to make sure you do all the checks to make sure it will do everything you need it to. So those are my, just my little tips on when you're considering upgrading too. Also, when you're considering upgrading your system, or not upgrading your system, but buying a new system to replace this one, and it's because you're missing a few little things. Like, for example, it's a bad example here. All right, I have a laptop. The laptop is slow. Now, I could pay $1,000 to buy a new laptop, or I could pay $50 and get more RAM. That might be something to consider too. If you're considering upgrading your or not upgrading, but buying a new system, maybe you check and make sure your old system maybe can't be upgraded. Like if you're gonna run Windows Vista, right? Your system has the minimum requirements of 1 gigabyte or 1 gigahertz processor. I recommend 1.5 gigahertz, by the way. But if you have the minimum requirements of 1 gigahertz processor, right, and all you're missing is a gig of RAM, you only got 512, go and buy a stick of RAM. Take it into a shop, say, I need a stick of RAM. It'll be a hell of a lot cheaper than it is to buy a new system, in most cases. Ask someone who knows about computer technology. Someone can upgrade RAM in a computer very, very easy, as long as they know what they're doing, So those are my little tips, just because I've seen a few people recently who are thinking about upgrading systems and necessarily don't have to. If they don't, if it's not a must thing, don't upgrade, Be happy with what you have, and don't be, be happy with what you have, and don't be worrying if you've got the latest and greatest. Sometimes the older systems do a lot better than the newer systems. This is an example. So that's my little tips there. Hopefully I didn't offend anyone who, has bought a new system. But those are just my little tips there. Hopefully, what I'm here for is to help people make choices. I'm not forcing people to do anything, but I'm just helping you make the choice of what you need to do. Sometimes people need that help. If you, for example, if you are buying a new system, or if you are considering buying a new system, talk to someone who knows about this kind of stuff. If you're gonna go buy a new system, take them in the store with you. I've said this before. So those are my little tips. If you have any more questions for me, you can ask me at or email me at TheZRTECH@gmail.com, or TheZRTECH for Americans at gmail.com, and reply in the comment section if you have any comments for me. Also, if you want to see my new videos that are going to be coming out, you hit the little subscribe button, you get a little notification about that, and also give me some stars for my trouble. Thank you very much.